Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Anna's English channel. I am so happy you are here with us today for another cozy session of English learning through conversation. I'm Anna, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful friend and co-host Leo. How are you today, Leo?
I am doing great, Anna. Actually, I am still feeling very relaxed because I just came back from my short break. Thinking about holidays always puts me in a good mood.
That is the perfect energy for today's episode. Today, we are going to talk about our holidays. It is such a common topic when we meet friends or colleagues, isn't it? We share stories about what we did, what we saw, and how we felt.
Exactly. And while we share these stories, we often describe things that were happening at a specific moment in the past. It's like we are painting a picture with our words.
I love that description, Leo, painting a picture. Listeners, today as we talk, I want you to notice how we describe those pictures in the past. We often use a special way of speaking called the past continuous. It helps us describe actions that were in progress at a certain time. But don't worry about the rules yet. Let's just dive into our holiday stories first. So, Leo, tell me about your holiday first. Where were you?
Well, last week I went to a small village by the sea. It was so peaceful. I remember one specific afternoon. I was sitting on the balcony of my hotel. The sun was setting over the ocean and the sky was turning a beautiful shade of pink and orange. It was magical. That sounds beautiful. So while the sun was setting, what were you doing?
I was drinking a cup of herbal tea, and I was reading a very old book I found in the hotel library. Everything felt very slow. The waves were crashing gently against the shore below me. It was exactly what I needed.
I can really see it. You weren't just doing things, you were experiencing them in that moment. My holiday was a bit different. I went to the mountains.
Oh, I love the mountains. Was it cold?
A little bit. On Tuesday morning, I went for a walk early. While I was walking through the forest, the birds were singing everywhere. It was very loud, but very natural. I was wearing my thickest jacket and a warm hat because the wind was blowing quite hard through the trees.
That sounds so refreshing. So while you were walking, did you see any animals?
Actually, yes. While I was crossing a small wooden bridge, I saw a deer. It was standing perfectly still near the water. We both just looked at each other for a moment. Then it ran away into the trees.
Those are such vivid memories, Leo. Notice how we used those sentences? We said things like, the sun was setting, or the birds were singing. We use this because we want to show that the action lasted for some time. It wasn't just a quick pop in time, it was a continuous flow.
Right. It's like a video, not a photo. If I say the deer stood there, it's like a quick fact. But if I say the deer was standing there, I am inviting you to look at the scene with me for a longer moment.
Exactly. And for our listeners who are curious about how we build these sentences, it is quite simple. We use was or were, and then we add ing to the action word. So I say I was reading because I am one person. But if I talk about the waves, I say the waves were crashing because there are many waves.
I was, you were, he was, she was, it was, we were, they were. It becomes very natural once you start using it to tell stories.
Let's try to look at why we use it. One of the main reasons is to set the scene. When we start a story, we often use the past continuous to tell the listener what was happening in the background. For example, when I started my story, I said the sun was setting and the waves were crashing. That creates the atmosphere before the main events happen.
That makes so much sense. It's like the background music of our story. While the background actions were happening, something else might happen suddenly.
Yes, and that leads us to another very common use. We often use the past continuous to describe an action that was already happening when it was interrupted by something else.
Let me give an example for my mountain trip. One afternoon, I was cooking some soup on my small camping stove. Suddenly, the phone rang. So the long action was that I was cooking. The short or interrupting action was that the phone rang.
Perfect. We can even join them together with the word when. I was cooking soup when the phone rang.
Or we can use while for the long action. While I was cooking soup, the phone rang. It shows that the phone call happened in the middle of my cooking time.
I had a similar moment at the beach. I was lying on the sand and I was almost falling asleep. Suddenly, a big dog ran past me and splashed water all over my towel.
Oh no. So while you were relaxing, a dog interrupted you.
Exactly. I was relaxing, the long action, and then the dog splashed me, the short, sudden action. It's a very common way to tell funny or surprising stories. We use the past continuous for the situation that was already going on, and the simple past for the new event.
This really helps the listener understand the order of things. It's not just a list of facts, it's a sequence of events. Anna, what about when two things are happening at the same time? Both are long actions.
Great question, Leo. We use while to connect two actions that were happening at the same time. For example, while I was reading my book, the fishermen were preparing their boats. Both actions were continuous. One didn't stop the other. They just happened together.
I see. So in the mountains, I could say, while I was walking, I was thinking about my work. Both were happening in my head and with my legs at the same time.
Let's talk more about what we saw other people doing on holiday. It's a great way to practice. When you were in the mountains, Leo, what were the other tourists doing?
Well, it was a busy area near the lake. Some people were taking photos of the mountains. A group of children were playing with a ball near the water. I also saw a couple who were sitting on a bench. They were talking very quietly and looking at the map.
It sounds like everyone was enjoying the fresh air. At the beach, it was similar. Many people were swimming, even though the water was a bit cold. Some teenagers were playing music on a small speaker, and a few artists were painting the landscape. Everyone was living in the moment.
Everyone was living in the moment. That is a beautiful sentence. It really shows that the action was continuing.
Let's look at the negative side too. Sometimes we want to say what was not happening. We just add not. I was not thinking about my office. I was not checking my emails. It felt so good.
Me too. I was not worrying about deadlines. I was not looking at my watch. We use wasn't or weren't for short. I wasn't checking my phone. We weren't rushing.
That is the best part of a holiday, isn't it? Not rushing. Let's think about questions. If you wanted to ask me about my time, how would you say it?
I would ask, Anna, were you staying in a large hotel? Or what were you doing when the sun went down? We just put the was or were at the beginning or after the question word, like what or where.
Exactly. Where were you going when I saw you? Or were you having a good time? It's very useful for starting conversations.
Anna, I noticed something. We use the past continuous a lot when we are describing specific moments in time. For example, at 10 o'clock yesterday morning, I was hiking.
You are right, Leo. That is a very important point. If we mention a specific time in the past, we often use the past continuous to show what was in progress at that exact second. If I ask, what were you doing at 8 p.m. last night? I want to know the action you were in the middle of.
At 8 p.m. last night, I was unpacking my suitcase. I was finding all the souvenirs I bought.
And I was editing some photos from my trip at 8 p.m. See, we use it to focus on the activity itself. Does this work for every verb, for every action word? That is a very smart question. Actually, no. Some words are state words, words like know, believe, want, or like. We usually don't use them with ing.
So I wouldn't say I was wanting an ice cream.
Exactly. You would just say, I wanted an ice cream. Even if it was a long feeling, we keep those words simple. But for actions like running, walking, eating, sleeping, dreaming, those are perfect for the past continuous.
Holiday activities are usually actions. Skiing, sailing, climbing, dancing. Last year, my friends and I went to a festival. The band was playing, everyone was dancing. The energy was moving through the whole crowd.
I can feel the energy just hearing you talk about it. It's all about the vibe or the feeling of the moment. When we use this grammar, we are giving our listeners a chance to feel what we felt.
Let's look back at our stories from the beginning. Anna, you said the sun was setting and I was drinking tea. Here you were setting the scene. It makes the listener feel like they are sitting on the balcony with you.
And you said, while I was walking through the forest, the birds were singing. You used while to show two things happening at once. It creates a very rich, full description of the forest.
Then we had the interruptions. I was lying on the sand when a dog splashed me.
That when is like a little bridge. On one side of the bridge, we have the long, peaceful action, was lying. On the other side, we have the sudden surprise, splashed. It's a very helpful structure for storytelling.
I also noticed we used it to describe what other people were doing. Children were playing, artists were painting. It's like we are taking a wide-angle photo of the whole holiday location.
It really is. And remember, it's not just for holidays. You can use it to describe your day yesterday or a movie you watched. In the movie, the hero was trying to escape while the fire was spreading.
Or even at work. Yesterday at 3 p.m., I was having a meeting with my boss.
Exactly. It is a very flexible and common part of English. The most important thing is the feeling of duration. Something was in progress. It had a beginning and an end, but we are looking at the middle of it.
Looking at the middle. I like that. It's like being inside the action.
We have talked a lot about our holidays today, Leo. It makes me want to go on another one.
Me too, Anna. But talking about it is almost as good. It lets us relive those happy moments.
And for our listeners, I hope you enjoyed our stories. Don't worry if you don't remember all the rules we talked about. The best way to learn is to keep listening. Your brain is learning even when you don't realize it.
That's right. Just like when you were on holiday, you were learning about the new village or the mountains just by being there. English is the same.
Before we go, let's just remind everyone of the basic recipe for today's grammar. Person plus was or were plus action with ing. I was walking, they were singing, it was raining.
And use when or while to connect your ideas.